I want to kind of go back to, uh, when you did lose your father, and because that was losing your compass, your GPS in life. And what was the one turning point where you said, enough is enough? I got to make this change. Because there's a lot of people out there who go through challenges and they don't know when to go ask for help. They don't know what that rock bottom looks like. They don't know what it feels like. And they struggle with being able to ask for help. So, at what point did you say enough is enough?
Well, I remember, partying so hard all the time and thinking, man, this is just so repetitious. And it's just so, there was a part of me that knew this was not a good road to be on. But somehow the cycle of 24 hours, it just kept going one day after the next. It just led into the next day, led into the next day. But I remember after reading that letter that, my teacher, Noel Haskell, sent me, I remember saying the phrase, I can't get any higher.
Mm.
And what I really meant was I couldn't get any higher synthetically. And by using something other than what was already inside of me. I
Mm.
didn't realize I had already been way higher than that in my life, just with the gifts that I had in my world. But I was using something basically to fill the hole in my heart. And it wasn't working. It was only working temporarily, you know, 3 hours at a time or 15 minutes at a time. For
Mm.
all those who know who are out there struggling with any kind of physical or substance addiction, it's not, it's only temporary. But I was looking for something that could be more permanent. I knew that was not sustainable. Once I realized I wanted to live and not go with my father, then I was able to reach out. But in the beginning, I couldn't even, I had people around me trying to help me. And I would run as fast and as far away from them as possible. So I needed to love myself again and believe that I was valuable. And by reading that letter and thinking, this is not a family member, it's a teacher, but it is like somebody is a chosen family. But I said, if somebody actually thinks that much of me, they think I'm valuable, maybe I really am. So I got the belief from someone else. And that obviously was God at work, right? Through him. That's why we all have to accept the mission that we're getting. We might not understand it, but
Yeah.
we all have a mission. So if today someone is listening to this or watching this and they feel like they're maybe getting that mission for someone else, and trust me, there was a community of people who were addicts right along with me
Yeah.
that we were doing this and we were working together. I talk about it in the book. There was actually a community of people supporting each other to either stay high or keep using, or but there was also a community there. So oddly enough, I actually had it, but I couldn't identify it
Mm.
until I cleaned my life up and started doing things which were better for me, and then I was able to help other people. And I have one of my best friends who you've met is my buddy Gary from he's from Long Island, from Hopog. He just celebrated his fourth year of sobriety last week,
Mm.
and he messaged me and he was like, "Man, I got to thank you for the role you've played in this." And so we're all lights for each other, and we're all mirrors for each other.
Man, doesn't that feel so good when you get those
Oh my
phone calls,
God.
the thank
When I
yous?
get that text, Joe, every year, I remember when I thought I was going to lose him. And we've been friends since 1980. So this is a guy who went through all this with me.
Mm.
And and I thought I was going to lose him. And I remember when when he got sober and I was like, man, that I know you're going to understand this. That feels better to me than my own recovery.
Hmm.
When I see somebody else like that who went longer, right? Well, I had a 4 or 5 year, you know, time when I couldn't come out of it, but his was many, many more years. So for him to say, I'm sober 4 years, that's even bigger. than my own sobriety.
That's the gift that keeps on giving with it. When you're
Yeah.
able to give it back like that, you
Yeah.
know. You mentioned a couple of important things though that I kind of want to touch on. You mentioned how you weren't able to ask for help, right? And you people were trying to help you the whole way through, and it's
Yeah.
so important for people out there to understand that you can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. Somebody has to want to help themselves, because there's families out there that might be listening that they might have someone that's struggling in whatever it is that they're afraid to ask, that they haven't asked for help because they're not ready for help. So the only thing you could do is just keep being supportive of them. And for people out there who are struggling, don't be afraid to ask for help in whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're struggling with. And that's a big thing for not just people who are going through substance abuse, but entrepreneurs too. There's entrepreneurs out there who
100%.
try to take on
Yes.
everything on their own, and they're afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
You know, and the other thing you mentioned, the other thing that I wanted to ask you was how much, because I'm a big believer in 90% of the battle with, especially when it comes to substance abuse, is in the mind. I think it all starts in the mind, and the biggest piece is changing the mindset. At what point did you realize how important it was that to have that paradigm shift and change your mindset on that?
Well, as soon as it's kind of like both sides. As soon as there's a crack in the armor to go down the wrong road, there's momentum. And then if there's a crack in the armor or there's a crack in the cage and you see the light, you go the other way and there's momentum. So you start to see the people on both sides misaligned with your purpose. So just like I fell into the darkness, leaving the people who were my lights, once I saw the light and started to come out of it, I started to misalign with the people who were still in the darkness. So I switched communities and I went back to what I felt like was better for me and healthier for me. But that started with me caring. I had to value myself first. And reading that letter was the crack when was the first light that I saw. Think about a high school teacher writing a letter to a former student, just the act of writing that letter.
Yeah.
He took a chance that I was going to shut him out just like everybody else I shut out. But he took the risk. And when I opened that letter, what I was reading were words from somebody with ink and pen. But really, what I was seeing was I'm valuable.
Yes.
And so God worked through him to say, write this kid a letter. Maybe that's going to be the thing that wakes him up. And it did.
Yeah.
So if you're out there right now, and I tell people this all the time, write someone a letter. You never know that letter might be the thing because now that's not talking to them or texting them or calling them or bothering them. It's a passive form of communication. We don't use it anymore.
Yeah.
If you write a note, write a card and put it in an envelope and send it to somebody, now they can sit with that and the timing could be different. That what was so magical about it was, and it was 4 a.m. after an all-nighter. I might have been out for weeks at a time. And I opened that letter at 4 a.m. and I was hallucinating, but the switch flipped right then.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And you mentioned also the power of community and how that could help you shift your mindset,
Yeah.
right? Because when you're hanging out with people who are out there getting high, drinking, you're going to get high, you're going to drink eventually. When you surround yourself with people who are motivating you and who are taking their life to the next level and doing big things and being of service, guess what? You're going to end up being of service. It's like the old saying, if you go to a barber shop for 5 weeks straight, eventually you're going to get a haircut. You know what I mean? It's inevitable.